It's time to breathe again on the latest Fresh Air Webcast. So I'm here with Patrick. Patrick's jumping in now, and we welcome you to the show. Thanks for joining us, and hope you're catching us on either YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, whichever one. As long as you're catching us,
am I paused?
Sounds good. You shouldn't be.
No, I mean, am I paused on the screen?
No, you're good.
Well, I'm not moving around on mine. I don't know what the heck happened.
Oh shoot. Well,
there I am.
You're moving good over here.
Moving good now.
So we'll go ahead and work it live. Hey, live television or live video, live streaming.
What do you expect?
So, well, Patrick, look. So we will get to Tom Brady's ridiculous deal that he signed with Fox Sports.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's wild. It's a wild deal. And so we'll get to that here in a little bit, along with the NBA and NHL playoff action as well. But Patrick, I put my investigation hat on a couple of days ago, and I was looking at everything going on in college sports, particularly with the transfer portal and with name, image, and likeness. So, of course, we have dabbled in this through different times. We've had different discussions about these two items in particular. And I got to thinking, how can a lot of this stuff get settled? Now, we know when it comes to having solutions to problems, because everybody can point out problems. We know that about people. Everybody wants to point out a problem.
Everybody can point out a problem. Nobody can point out a solution.
Yeah, nobody can point out a solution. That's where I come in, Patrick. And so
about time somebody came in with a solution.
Yeah. The man with the plan. You know it, Patrick. And so we come in and, I wanted to run this by you because I honestly think this is something a lot of people do not want to acknowledge and are basically not prepared to have the conversation about. So here's the solution to me. Now, as I say that, it's not a no all tell all. There's going to be some flaws. There's going to be some things that people can pick apart. I get it, whatever. But I think if we do this and we're willing to accept this, a lot of things can be situated. So I say this, Patrick, it is time. I know the NCAA has been fighting it forever and ever and ever, but it is officially time to treat college sports like pro sports. It's time, dude. It's been time. You got all this money that has been hand over fist between TV contracts, shoe deals, apparel companies. Well, I mean, shoes and apparel companies pretty much the same. I mean, we know the big ones out there: Nike, Adidas, Reebok, Under Armour. We know. Mm-hmm. And once money is now legally, we'll say legally, starting to switch hands, especially with name, image, and likeness, and it's time to treat it like pro sports now, and basically like free agency. So the free agency point, Patrick, that goes to the transfer portal. So if you're a student, let's say you go to Bama, you go to Georgia, you go to one of these schools, and then the competition is really, really tight, you cannot get on the squad. You can't get on the field. So you decide you're going to enter the transfer portal. Well, that's free agency right there. If a team does not pick you up, you're chilling. You're kicking it. You're not playing. You're not doing anything.
Like that. Yeah.
So yeah, but so that because that's the thing. Because once you enter the transfer portal, that's essentially free agency.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that is the college version of free agency to me, because you're putting your name in a hat. You're going out here. You're trying to talk. You're trying to negotiate a deal, or maybe whatever, a walk-on deal, whatever you want to call it, to try to go to another school so you can get more playing time, or whatever the reason is you're trying to go on there. Yep, more money too, which you can sort that out with the NIL deals now, of course.
Yep.
But because that's what's happening also. These kids, we talked about it last week with the Miami Hurricanes basketball player, Isaiah Wong. Oh, wait, my NIL deal isn't good? Shoot, time for me to go somewhere else, most likely. Now, I guess everything worked out to where he was able to stay in Miami, but that was a story where he said, man, I can't get $800,000. Might be time for me to enter the transfer portal.
You gotta go
So,
somewhere else and get my $800 because I ain't getting outdone by this dude.
yeah. So yeah, free agency. That's how I treat it. Either if you don't get picked up, then you chill. You don't play. Now, unless the team that you tried to transfer from says, "Hey, man, you can come on back here," then you're just kicking it. You're chilling, and you lose however much eligibility. And it's just one of those things. Also, like during the season, like, deals aren't really happening like that during the season unless you're getting traded, which that's not happening in college right now. But you get the feeling it'll be a matter of time beforehand.
Oh yeah.
So, so that's one thing, Patrick. Treat that bad boy like free agency. Number two, with the NIL deals, if remember last week we were talking about that whole task force that they were talking about. Well, we don't think the task force is not going to do anything in the NCAA. I mean, we just feel like the NCAA is just trying to save their asses before they become obsolete, because that's what's happening. They're becoming
Too
obsolete.
late.
Yeah, and so that's too late.
Too late. Once you put that NIL deal stuff in there, too late.
So NIL deals, I'm all about kids getting their money and doing what they can. If, which we both agree the NCAA is not about this. But if you are about this, get the classes in place, have the kids have some money management skills developed. If you're truthfully about the quote unquote student athlete, which we know they're not, they're about the athletic student. And I say athletic student because the athletic part is what's making all their money. But, but if you're about that, get some classes in there. Embrace what is here. The name, image, and likeness, that ain't going anywhere. Transfer portal, that's not going anywhere. It's time to embrace it. If you're a coach, all these coaches out here, Lane Kiffin, Dabo Sweeney, just a few of them over here complaining about the name, image, and likeness thing. No, shut up and deal with it. It was no problem when y'all were over here getting all the money. So now the players get a little bit of power to try to see if they can take control of their futures. Nothing wrong with that. Don't be mad because the power is going away from you. So shut up, deal with it, get the classes in place in the colleges, and this is where the institutions have to step up too. Get the classes in there, get some money management classes, and let's talk. Let's have those discussions and make sure those kids know what is out there in terms of people, because not everybody is good, of course. So people are going to sit there, they're going to try to take advantage of these kids. These are still 18 to 19-year-olds coming out of high school, getting all this money thrown into their face, getting pulled in all these different directions, especially if they're a high recruit, a 5-star recruit. So you're going to get a whole bunch of money. As a matter of fact, Patrick, Google this story here. The running back for Texas, Bijan Robinson, he's driving around in a Lamborghini because he got a Lamborghini deal with NIL. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Google that up, man. I had heard that on CBS Sports Radio, as a matter of fact, that this dude is driving around basically in a Lamborghini. He got an NIL deal with the Lamborghini dealership down in Austin. So, yeah, get the classes in there. Make sure these kids got teams around them. They put themselves around with people that have their best interests at heart. Number 3, and I think this is most important here. We always say, or we're always told, if you're 18 years old, you're an adult. That's an adult age. Well, all right. If you're gonna be an adult, at that adult age, then hey, you got to get treated like an adult. It's like that in the justice system. Whether you get tried as an adult,
Yep.
and it's like that. Hell, we can't. In some countries, you can drink when you're 18. Of course, you can't do that in the U.S. But you and I have both been to countries where they're drinking at 16. So,
Yeah.
so, so, yeah, like they can legally drink at 16 years old. So, and it's like
All black Lamborghini.
yeah. See, so that's what you get, Patrick. So those are things I feel will make this a
Hey,
little easier to deal with. It's
he got.
tough. I
He
get
don't
it.
even have to score a touchdown, bro, and he gets the girls.
Yeah. so, so I know it's tough. I,
Hey.
I know these are tough conversations to have. These are tough realities to come to, but they have to happen in my eyes if we're going to navigate through this. If you want to keep it from being too wild wild west, it's still going to be wild wild west out there. But if you want to keep it from being too to the point where it's just completely and utterly out of control, these things have to be realized. We have to realize name, image, and likeness and the transfer portal is not going anywhere. And you treat it like free agency. If they don't get picked up, they don't play. Simple as that.
Yeah.
You don't just put
Well,
them on a roster just to have them there. And then
and
with
I
the
think.
money, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry. And I think you should also add to that. So, like, say for example, if you enter the the transfer portal, you have limited attempts to do it. So, like, say if you can enter the transfer portal, but you can only do it one time in your college career. You know what I'm saying? These people that are like, like so, like if you hit it one time, right, and you go to Alabama, well, guess what? If you can't hit it again, and if you do, then you're suspended for 1 year, so you can't play the next year.
It's like a red shirt,
Yeah.
basically.
So let's say you come into name a school, whatever. You come in there and you play for 1 year. You enter the transfer portal. You can play the next year, your sophomore year. But if you enter again, you don't play your junior year. You can only then play your senior year. You know
So
what I mean?
you cut down on the eligibility. So you
Yeah,
basically you have
you
3 years
start cutting
of
down on
eligibility.
eligibility to force kids to stay where they're at. I mean, we're not sitting here saying stay where you're at forever. I'm just saying, you only get one shot, so you might want to make it worth your while, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Um, so I mean, I agree with you. If you're gonna do it, then only have one time, but treat it as a free agency. Nobody picks you up. Nobody picks you up. You ain't playing,
Yeah, because
and you don't get no NIL deal.
yeah, because once money is involved now, like legally money is involved now. So if that is the case, then it's time. It's no longer this. You can no longer hide if you're the NCAA. You can no longer hide behind the whole. These are amateur athletes, and we're about the student athletes. You can no longer hide behind that
Mm-hmm.
because now the onion. Whatever analogy you want to use, the onion is being the peels are coming off now,
Yep.
and those peels have been they've been coming off for a while, and nobody's that naive to understand or naive enough to say, nah, man, there's no money that's being exchanged under the table. And we all know these players are getting
There's been
paid so much. Yeah,
every school has done it for years. The
yes,
only difference is what the NCAA said was this: we know you've been doing it. You name the school. Insert school has been doing it. It doesn't matter who you can. Oh, Notre Dame is a Christian school. They went.
right.
Even religion, unfortunately, I hate to say it, even religion is a business.
Yeah,
Sorry, it's a business. If you don't agree with me, then why are we putting money in the buckets when they pass around? Why are we paying preachers? Why are we buying Bibles? If it is not a business, why are we doing that?
Patrick, look at the churches that are being built here, like anywhere. I mean, I could walk down said whatever street around here in Texas, and you're seeing
the biggest
stadium-sized churches.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you haven't watched him, fans, if you haven't watched him, Stephen Furtick, he is a phenomenal preacher. Phenomenal. He's great. Look at his pit. It's
you got 10,000 seats, like 10,000 seat arena.
He got 12,000 seat arena and that's his church.
Yeah.
TD Jakes.
Yep.
Bro, you want to talk about a stadium?
Woo. He got the Potter houses down here, man.
He'll pack out any place he goes.
Mm-hmm.
But again, phenomenal man. He's phenomenal at what he does. He talks and puts it to a term where anybody can understand it. Great people, but it doesn't change the fact that they do sell their services and their business. Yeah. And when we look at what the NCAA is and what they did, basically they just said, look, y'all are illegally doing it anyway. Let's just make it legal. Y'all are getting away with it 99.9% of the time. There's only a couple of times where we actually catch you. So what's the point? So let's legalize it. Within legalizing it, they shot themselves in the foot. But I still don't think that we're too far away where we can take those reins and pull them in a little bit and do what you said. Let's make the transfer portal free agency, but let's put some guidelines to it. Let's just tighten it up just a little bit so it's not like what you said, the wild, wild west. Let's tighten it up. Let's put some laws. Let's put some regulations in and then let it be. And then that's that. I mean, you're going to have to do that. I mean, it works. It works back in all those times where, I mean, it worked back in the wild, wild west. Everybody was free to kill anybody. And then we were like, you know what? Maybe that's not a great idea. Maybe we should pull that back a little bit. And we did. So do this the same way. I mean, there's going to have to be guidelines in, and we're going to learn through it. And like you said, we're all learning through this. So tighten it up a little bit. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, the main thing people have to ask themselves is, are they ready for that though? Because a lot of people
are ready or not, they have to do it.
Yeah, like a lot of people are not ready for it, but yeah, I think that, and from my estimation, this is a must. You have to just acknowledge these kids, or no, I can't even call them kids because we were just talking about young men, young women who are getting deals. I mean, you look at college or women's college basketball. Who was it? The one for Connecticut, Paige Buchers. I think she had a nice little deal there.
600,000.
Yeah. So I mean, so this stuff is here, and so stop trying to fight it. If you're one of these coaches who are over here crying about it,
how about the Texas Longhorns center fielder softball?
Yeah,
the 1.1 million NIL deal she got.
I saw that too, man. And so
dude, you know what? That girl's hit. She's a crazy hitter too.
Yes, she is. I caught a game or two because it's getting close to women's college softball World Series time. So.
Oh yeah, dude.
So I mean, I think
I know that but I got a question for you about baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Who's your favorite right now?
You know, it's still too early to tell. I mean, the Dodgers are playing well.
No. College.
Oh, college.
Have you been watching any of it?
The little bit that I have seen, Tennessee is looking pretty good. And
have you even looked at Oregon State?
I have not. No, I
That
have
team
not
is
looked it up.
for real, dude. I said this last year, or I said this last week. Tennessee is kicking butt and they for real. Yeah. Guess who else is for real? There's 3 other teams, man, that are like crazy good. Oregon State, Miami. There's a couple of them, man. I'll have to look back. There was one, Oklahoma. I think it's Oklahoma State. Oh man, they are. I mean, they're just playing some phenomenal ball.
Yeah, you know
Single
how I
digit
am,
offense right
Patrick.
now.
You know how I am, man. Come May, that's what I'm like. Okay, look,
That's when you catch up.
yeah, because it's getting to the super regional. You know, when they start doing the playoffs, they get
Yeah.
into the super regionals, and then the actual College World Series. Then that's where I'm like, okay, cool. But it's around that time. It's May. It's getting in the mid-May, so I'm gonna be on it. And so
You know
yeah,
I'm
I'm
on.
not gonna. Yeah, just like that. So I definitely rely on you with those updates with that
Yeah.
up until then, because until then I'm like, oh gosh, all right, let me go here, let me look at these teams. You know, I got to see what my Longhorns are doing. I know already in women's college softball, Oklahoma, you know I can't stand that, but they're always good. That softball team is always good.
I think they swept some. I think they swept somebody last into last week. Put them in the rankings. They're 34-17 right now, dude. I think they're ranked 21st or 22nd, something like that.
See,
But
and like normally that would be good for any other team, but you know, Oklahoma, that women's softball team has normally been at least top 5. At least.
Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma softball. I think they are number 1 right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I was still talking about baseball. Your Longhorns in baseball are 34-17 in ranked
Okay. Yeah.
But I would have to look them up because I haven't looked at those yet. But I'll pull those up. But dude, there's some real good baseball and softball being played right now, man.
Yeah, I'm about to get on it. Starting here probably in the next few days, man. In between school and
Yeah,
life
Oklahoma.
stuff.
Oklahoma is ranked number 1 right now, 48-1.
See, yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Anyway, so so Patrick, all right. So before we move on, man, is there anything you wanted to add to my suggestion, to my proclamation of trying to navigate through the name, image, and likeness and transfer portal waters?
No, man. I mean, look, I will say this. I mean, there's a lot that's going to have to be pulled in and reined in. We all know that. Now is the time to do it. Don't keep waiting because these kids are taking. I mean, right now they're taking advantage of it, and they should. I mean, you know, if somebody goes, yeah, we're putting $150 million out here on the side of the street, and it's anybody who can take it can take it. Bro, I'm gonna take as much as I can. You know what I mean? But if they say, well, you know, you can only take as much as your briefcase can fill, then, you know, obviously you're only going to take a little less. You know what I mean? Right now they're taking everything they can get. And if these companies or these organizations are going to offer it to them,
Boosters.
and these boosters are like, yeah, well, hey, come and play for me. We'll give you a Lamborghini. Bro, I'm going to look at them and be like, I want one all black on black. I want one all white on white. And I'll play for you, bro. Okay, let's do it. That's $500,000, bro. I mean, look, $600,000, and then I want my $400,000 in cash. I don't even want to cash a check. I want it in cash. Because I'm gonna put that stuff in my bed like Mayweather did, and I'm gonna count it every night. While I'm dangling my keys, I'll put them in earrings. I'll put like white on white, black on black. Count my money. Count my money. But until then, this is what they're going to do. And they should. They should take advantage of it because they're not breaking any rules. So do it.
Yeah, and I mean, I just think it comes with embracing the society. There's nothing that's going to be done instead of trying to fight it, which is what the NCAA is basically trying to do. Yes, embrace it, deal with it, and let's adjust with those times. And make sure if we're about the safety and protection of these kids, like the NCAA claims they are, what better way to prove that than to put the resources out to help the situation, not fight the situation, because they're putting this task force together to basically fight the situation. That's not going to get anything
already
done.
let them have it.
Yeah, exactly. That's not doing anything. That's not helping the situation. Embrace what's here. Let's get the classes in place to help the kids. Get some business managers in there. Put these other whatever corresponding courses that you can throw out there. You got business school. I told you last week how up in the University of North Texas in Denton they have a whole business building. You got Wall Street going through. You got a stock market index going on through. Get that type of deals in there, so these kids, or excuse me, young men, young women, so they don't get sharked basically by somebody just trying to take advantage, and they're over here just trying to just pawn them off, put them out there. Of course, they're getting paid with it too, so so let's make sure everything is good to where you can get the help, you get the resources, and those recommendations, man. So, yeah, definitely something that we'll continue to discuss as time goes on, and we'll see if the adjusting period starts. Well, Patrick, let's talk about this Tom Brady deal. So this is crazy. Of course, Tom Brady retiring, unretiring. We know the story. Well, today he signed this ridiculous deal with Fox Sports where he whenever it is he's done playing, he comes right into the booth as your number one analyst with Fox Sports, and the deal is 10 years, 375 million. Now, to put that into context, that is 37.5 million per year. Tony Romo's deal, with him being the lead analyst sitting with Jim Nantz at CBS, is making 17 to 18 million per year. Tom Brady's walking into 37 million per year. 37.5 million per year.
And we don't even know how he will be as an analyst.
Right.
Just because he's a great football player doesn't mean he breaks down everything perfect.
Yeah, right.
I mean, he's not going to be no Alex Rodriguez. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. And look, and you and I, we talked about A-Rod. Like, we think he's great.
I think he's great.
Yeah, he's great breaking down those.
Oh, man, the way he breaks down batters, dude, I'm like, oh, that is freaking awesome. I can see Tom Brady. Well, he drops back right here, and well, see how he does it, and then he throws. Yeah, such a beautiful throw. $37.5 million a year. When I read it, dude, I was just like, what do I got to do to get that kind of money, man? Oh my God, what do I got to do?
And the thing is, Patrick, look, I would not put it past Tom Brady to say he could play till he's 50. I wouldn't put it past him. Now, I don't know.
Upright, man, anybody can play till they're 50 as long as you're upright.
Yeah. So I don't know if he's going to go to 50, but I mean, I still see at least, I see a good 2 more years out of him. So,
and that'd be debatable next year if he can still throw. Because if he can still throw, I'll give him another 2 years.
So that deal, we don't even know when that deal's going to start. That's what's crazy. Fox is saying, hey, man, you know what? We're just going to go ahead. We're just going to sign you to this deal right now. and whenever you retire, you come right on into this booth. Cush, 37.5 million.
Bro, do you realize that's like 2.9 million, almost 3 million more than he made on his Super Bowl run?
That's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. Because he's
bro, I'm going to tell you right now, you know what I do?
Yeah.
I'm going to go sit where it's comfortable and safe. See ya. I'm like, God, he literally, no, you know what? you have to give Tom Brady a lot of credit for this. That man is a freaking genius when it comes to securing his future. You got to give it to him, man. I mean, look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you. I mean, obviously, he is the greatest quarterback to have ever played. Ring wise, is he the most athletic quarterback to ever play? No, but the man is a freaking genius. So if you can stay upright as much as he is, you say you give him 2 years. I'll tell you what, I'll give him 2 years too. But at the end of the year, we'll debate if he gets that year added back on, because if he stays upright like he did the last 2 years, the man's good until he's 50, 55. He's still got another good 10 years in him if he stays upright. And I don't see it changing. Not with the linemen that they put on those. Anytime they put a lineman in front, man stays upright all the time. 4.5 seconds in the pocket, throws it wherever he wants to. He's got 10 years. That man, you know what? That man will retire at 62 when he can draw a pension.
62.
And then he'll jump into a booth and then pull a pension and pull 37.5 mil. It's ridiculous.
And of course, he has the Brazilian supermodel wife. So I mean, the dude's well off. We'll say that.
He's got the company Ugg.
Yeah, the TB12 method and all that branding. I mean, he's well off. But
chances are he'll own a team when he's retired too.
So all right. So on that note, Patrick, there were rumors going around. He was maybe being in the ownership group to get the Miami Dolphins. Like it was a crazy theory. He becomes a owner or a part owner, minority owner, kind of like the role Derek Jeter had when he was with the Miami Marlins. That sort of role.
Okay.
Be in the ownership group a little bit, be a minority owner. Yeah. Like 10, 15%. And then have Sean Payton come in to be the head coach. It was crazy. I just said, nah, that's probably not going to happen. But that was one of the rumors that were out there, especially after Sean Payton retired from being the coach for the New Orleans Saints. But and then at the time, I guess Tom Brady was going through retirement and all that other stuff too. So
that man dropped $6 billion and buy the Broncos.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna waste my time through middlemen. I want 100%.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think, I don't know. It's wild. It's crazy. But, when it comes to ownership and then these deals with going into the booth, you saw, we mentioned what Tony Romo got. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman got a whole bunch of money to move from Fox to ESPN, and they're going to be doing the Monday Night Football thing. And now this deal with Tom Brady. I guess the question I would ask, I mean, Fox is still doing the deal with Tom Brady. So the question I have for you, Patrick, is how much do you pay attention to who is commentating the game? Is that affecting how much you watch the game? Is that affecting that, like, are when you tune in to a game, are you sitting here saying to yourself, man, I can't wait to hear Tom Brady, I can't wait to hear Tony Romo or any of these other analysts? I mean, because the money would tell you, yes, people are paying attention to what they're saying, but are you going in there to learn something about the sport from those guys? Because ultimately, that's what they're supposed to do. They're analysts, right? These are people who have been between the lines. These are people who have played the sport at the highest level.
Mm-hmm.
Troy Aikman, Super Bowl winner. Drew Brees, who's with NBC right now, Super Bowl winner. We know what Tom Brady has done. Tony Romo hasn't won any Super Bowls, but he played for the most profitable franchise there is in sports. So, how do you feel about that? Like, are you going into these games just like, I got to see what they say? Or you're just like, well, okay, they're part of the commentary, but I already kind of know what I'm looking for with the sport.
Well, I mean, for me, I'm already kind of knowing what I'm looking for in the sport. I I can tell you, unfortunately, as much as we are trying to be commentators for Google, shout out, by the way, Google, where you at? Um, Crazy enough, truthfully, I mute it. I don't really listen to him. John Madden has really ruined me on the commentating. I couldn't stand him as a commentator, and it always bugged me when I watched Monday Night Football. So a lot of times I mute it. Now I will tell you, for baseball, I do listen to them a little bit. Hockey, I love listening to the commentators in hockey. Um, Basketball is neither here nor there. Um, but football, I mean, honestly, there's going to be a lot of people, because with Tom Brady, you're bringing a lot of knowledge to that. Like Troy Aikman, you brought a lot of knowledge from his experiences, and you're bringing a lot of knowledge with Drew Brees from his experiences. The thing is that they're all different experiences, and they're all going to be different perspectives of what they saw and how they're going to break down the game. Are they worth this amount of money? No, I don't think they're worth that amount of money, but it is sometimes enjoyable. Like, I don't mind listening to Troy Aikman break down a game every now and then. But I like how he breaks it down, his point of views and his perspectives on how he breaks it down. Sometimes it's very insightful on what they were doing, because it's something like, oh, well, I really didn't see that when I watched it live. Then when I saw the replay, listening to how he broke it down, I'm like, oh, okay, I see that now. Yeah, that makes sense. So listening to it from a person that has been in between the lines and listening to it from their perspective, I'm not going to sit and tell you I'm going to go out of my way to listen to any of them. But if they happen to be there and I'm interested, I'll listen. If I'm not interested in what they're breaking down, I'll mute it. So I mean, it's just kind of how I hear it and how I feel from the perspective that they're giving. But I mean, it doesn't bother me any. But like I said, sometimes I just mute it just because I just want to watch the game. I don't want to hear any commentary. I just watch the game. And if I break it down for like real on how I really like the commentating being done, I really like NFL Red Zone. That is probably the best way to watch football, because they break it down really simple. And truthfully, I wish that, hey, shout out Google, hire us to do the NCAA.
so I think when it comes to analysts, you know how some people, they either like or don't like whatever analyst, whether it is Troy Aikman, whether it is Drew Brees, Chris Collinsworth over at NBC as well. Tony Romo and some of the other guys that are out there going to basketball. You got people, I think, Stan Van Gundy's doing commentary. Reggie Miller's been a guy too. Me personally, I don't dislike any of them. I like all of them, but like you said, I'm not really watching it for them. I kind of know what I'm looking for, what I'm trying to see with the games. If I am to listen to anybody, if you're asking me to give a pick between the analyst or the play-by-play guy, give me the play-by-play guy, because they're the ones who's going to paint the picture of what's going on, particularly if it's going through on radio, because there's no visuals for radio. So if you can paint the picture on radio, oh, you're a beast. And so,
yeah, I agree with you on that. Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, I agree with you.
Yes, because they have to paint the picture, because the only thing we have with radio is listening. So they have to say, hey, this is what's happening here. They're going from left to right. They're going from up to down, whatever the case. And they have to sit there and literally paint the picture for us and give us a visual picture of what's going on. And then leave it up to our imagination to visualize how that atmosphere is like as it's happening. So that's why when you have your great radio personalities, I know I got one for you. You know you're going to fall in love with this one. Oh, Larry Munson, man, the Georgia play-by-play guy. Yeah. Man, his call, if you haven't heard it, and I'm sure people around the SEC have heard it, but that call he made 20 years ago when y'all went to Knoxville and beat the Tennessee Volunteers, and he was like, we just took a keg stomp or something and just crushed their nose.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean with the picture painting. So when I look at those announcers, man, like the Jim Nance is always because he's got the voice for it too. I've always loved Jim Nance. Brett Musburger is another one I've always loved. Kevin Harlan is a beast.
I like him.
Yeah, Kevin Harlan is a beast.
Yeah.
My man, he's a flamethrower out there. Love Kevin Harlan. Iron Eagle is another one.
Yeah.
There's so many, man. Joe Buck has been great for baseball and football. I like how he calls the games, and of course his father, Jack Buck, back in the day. I've just loved. I love the play-by-play guy. So if you're gonna ask me who I would watch, for whether it's the analyst or the play-by-play, yeah, give me the play-by-play guy any day of the
Any
week.
day. I agree with you because, like you said, I'm really not watching the game to hear what they got to say. I already kind of know what I'm looking for, and I already kind of have my own opinion even after the play. Again, there is some times where I like to hear their point of view just to see how close my point of view and their point of view are. But 99% of the time, I'm not listening to it. This entire time, I've had the Braves game on. and every time I look at it, and I'm like, oh, like Boston had a pass ball earlier and then gave up a home run. I even kind of predicted that. I was like, pass ball, that puts him at second. Yeah, they're fixing to give up a home run. And sure enough, 6-3, boom.
Well, Patrick, hey man, all right. So we got to come back to this one because we can go all day on the announcers, man, play-by-play guys.
Yeah. We had to put a show up for just the announcers, and we could do it. Yeah.
Well, we have a couple more topics to get to, man. So let's hit this playoff action. Let's start in the NBA. So going into tonight, you had 3 of those series tied at 2 games apiece. The one that wasn't was the
Surprise.
Yeah, and so the only one that wasn't was the one between Golden State and Memphis. Golden State took a 3-1 lead in that series last night. But the rest of them, 2-2. Dallas and Phoenix, 2-2. They play later on. Right now, Miami look like they're about to take a 3-2 to lead. They've been blowing out the Philly 76ers. Yeah,
so 3-2 lead tonight. Right now, it's 107-79.
Yeah, so Miami looks like they're going to go up 3-2 there. And then Milwaukee and Boston, great series, back and forth, punch, counter punch. But it's 2-2 going into Game 5 Wednesday night in Boston. So we know how Game 5s are.
What do we have last night? 15 to 17 lead changes last night?
Yeah, and Milwaukee had
anywhere from 6 to 15 points, and then runs that led to another lead change.
And Milwaukee had a good handle on the game going into the fourth quarter, but Al Horford came in. Turned back the clock. This dude did his thing, and then Jason Tatum was able to close it. So Boston has that series back in their favor, coming back to Boston for Game 5, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, what's sticking out to you, man? I know we talked a little bit about Miami or Milwaukee and Boston here. Is there anything else that's sticking out to you about what we've seen?
So first of all, let's stay on that Milwaukee Boston series right now because let's just be completely honest. That is a hell of a series. Haymaker after haymaker, and you have to commend Boston on their resiliency right now. Lose a game in Boston and then to take one back in Milwaukee, technically we're on pace right now, but
yep, it's the best 3 series now.
What's that?
It's a best of 3 series now, basically.
It is a best of 3 series, and it is fun to watch. It's so fun that even my oldest son is like watching it, which is because he doesn't really watch sports. He likes sports, but he doesn't watch them like that. Even he watched a quarter of it. That's how interesting it is getting. So if that tells you anything, man, watch this series. This series is scrappy. Guys that are friends through the regular season are like, don't touch me right now.
It's very physical in that series.
It is physical. It is aggression. There is, and it's not a bad aggression. It's just competitive aggression. And man, it is coming out on every player at every time when they're on that court. They like it's like taking a break. When they take a break, they are taking a break from life on that court. But when they hit it, they are they are pounding away on everything. Rebounds are some of the hardest to come by in this series. Last night, well, not last night, game 3. I mean, Milwaukee was owning the boards. Come game 4, nothing. I mean, it was just, I mean, it was a complete flipper. This series is so good. It is so good to watch. So, I mean, like, I won't miss the next 3 games. I guarantee you. I will not miss the next 3 games. But that is probably the best series going on right now. You got to commend Dallas for their resiliency. I mean, coming in down, what was it, down 2-0 and took two
Yeah.
more there too. I mean,
Yeah, lost the first 2 games in Phoenix and came back here,
won there too.
won there too.
So hey, look, we look at these teams and we're like, okay, I didn't see that coming from Dallas the way that happened. But hey, they held their own. We're all in par right now, minus the Golden State game or Golden State series. So, and then look at Philly. Man, you got to give them credit, dude. You got to give them credit. They stepped up when they had to step up, and to go down 2-0 and then tie the series back up at 2 apiece. Whew, give Philly some credit. I mean, I didn't see that. I didn't see that. I was fully expecting a sweep. I even said that before the series started. I was like, I'm fully expecting a sweep. I don't think Philly has what it takes. Man, give Joel some freaking credit, dude. That man is being a beast out there.
To come back from what he had, because he had a facial fracture, and for him to
Yeah,
just miss 2 games with that, put on the Phantom of the Opera mask, and get back out there and play, the Philly definitely got a boost.
yeah.
Getting him in there. I mean, Joel Embiid is an MVP candidate, and we know that. Now we
Oh,
know Nikolai
absolutely.
Jokic won the award for the center for the Denver Nuggets, so he's going to win. This will be his second straight. But Joel Embiid, MVP candidate as well. Giannis Antetokounmpo is one. Now, to me, all right, and real quick, Patrick, on the MVP, there is a difference between MVP and best player in the world.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Nikolai Jokic, okay, he can have the MVP. Giannis Antetokounmpo is the best player in the world, dude. He is a
Absolutely.
beast. He is the best in the world right now. Uh, but right now, it's him. Milwaukee, they're playing some good team ball too. Boston, man, that's gonna that I think it's going 7 games,
I do
and
too. I think it's going 7 games, man. I mean, I got Boston winning the series,
mhm.
but it's going to take 7 games to win it. And then
And
I'm
I got Milwaukee, so yeah. That's
but I mean,
well,
but
those are our finals picks. Those are our
you
finals
can't
picks.
go wrong with either one, man. They're
Yeah,
playing so good. I mean, and let's look at turnovers. These teams they're not turning over in abundance. Now, game 4 was a little bit different for both teams because there was some really sloppy passing, lazy passing is what I thought it was. There was a lot of lazy passing, a lot of lazy getting back. But that was happening for both teams, and I think luckily for both teams were doing it because there were so many turnovers in game 4. I think they had as many turnovers in game 4 as they did in the first 3 combined. It was crazy. Um, and then Golden State and Memphis, man. You look at Golden State, you look at Memphis. We all knew that. Well, I'm not gonna say we all. I would say that Golden State is just a better team. Um, but it's being made abundantly obvious with that, and that Memphis is going to have to do something to even that series on the court. But I mean, I just think there's just too much Golden State. The Golden State is deep. They're so deep, and it's hard to beat a team that can run a 10-man rotation, and all 10 of those can start on any team in the NBA. They can all start on a team somewhere, and Golden State has them coming off the bench. So
That was my
it,
other finals pick, by the way.
Golden State is nasty, man.
I just
So,
want to throw that out there, but
but that's what I see, man. I mean, like all these teams are looking really good. Memphis is just, I mean, they're doing what they can do. They look good. It's just, it's that saying, that man, that was great defense, just better offense. This is the story for Memphis right now. Their defense is great. It's just Golden State's got better offense, and they're just doing better. So, but other than that, man, that's what I see. That Boston and Milwaukee series, though, that is a fun series to watch.
all right, man. And one thing I will say before we move on. So this is going back to the Phoenix and Dallas series. Um, Phoenix, I think a lot of people just acted like they were gonna be untouchable because of the regular season they had. And now you remember what I said, Patrick. I said if Phoenix didn't win it last year, I don't know if they're gonna get back there because I felt that was their best chance to win it because you have an aging Chris Paul. And yes, you have a good young roster. You have Devin Booker there. You have DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges. You have a lot of good players there. But
You're only as strong as your weakest link.
Chris Paul can be bothered, and just because he's just an older, yeah, I mean, and he's an older player. So since he's an older player, they're coming up on 37 years old, and he's small. You can throw traps on him. You can affect him. Now, if he gets the chance to operate without any traps, any pressure, yeah, he's going to destroy you. Yes, obviously he's going to destroy you. But when you start trapping him, you're coming after the head of the snake. When you start doing what the Milwaukee Bucks did last year, full court pressure with Drew Holiday, you can get to him. And since they're playing every other day, he can't get that rest like that. It'd be one thing if he was getting 2 days in between. But when you're playing every other day, you continue to run that pressure that starts to wear on you. So I think Phoenix could be in trouble. They may get out of this series with Dallas, but you already know how I feel about Golden State. I think they're coming out of the West. I've been saying that from the beginning of the playoffs. So I'm very high on that group with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. They have the pedigree. They've been through the wars. And the young dudes like Jordan Poole,
They just step in.
Yeah.
They're just stepping in and doing their job. I mean, it's amazing. They're a phenomenal team.
Absolutely, Patrick. So, man, before we get on out, man, let's look at these hockey playoffs. So you talk about some parity. Now, I'm gonna go through these series, and this is insane. You have six of the 8 series coming into tonight that were tied at 2. 6 of them were tied at 2. Colorado swept Nashville, so that series is over. And then the other one that didn't have a 2-2 tie after the 4 games was the Penguins. The Pittsburgh Penguins have the New York Rangers down 3-1 right now. Yeah. The rest of them were tied at 2. Now it looks like the Carolina Hurricanes are going to go up 3-2. Well, they already have. All right. So they went up 3-2 on the Boston Bruins tonight. Tampa Bay and Toronto, they're slugging it out in their game 5. But Patrick, at the end of the 4 games, 6 of those series, 6 were tied at 2. 6. And it just speaks to what we talk about all the time. If there is a team that can come from the 8th seed and win the whole thing, it is hockey. We've seen it happen. It's happened before.
Kings did it a couple of years back.
Exactly. And so this is crazy, the parity. I mean, Calgary and Dallas 2-2. And we both thought Dallas was going to be overmatched here, but Dallas is hanging in there. We'll see.
Dude, that goalie that they have right now, I cannot think of his name, but my God, there was a
standing on his head.
Yeah, he had game 2. I think he had like 31 saves. I think there was like 33, 34 shots on goal, 31 saves, and they won like 3. 4-2 or something like that. I can't remember. But yeah, he's 35 shots on goal. He only allowed 2.
Yeah.
People are like 35 shots. No, 35 shots on goal is a crap ton of shots on goal.
Calgary peppers the net. Like they put
And
a
they
lot
do,
of
man.
net.
God, dude, Calgary is just they just all day. You better be ready, man.
Yeah,
They coming at you every
and that's
inning.
your thing, man. Hot goaltender. You know, you got we always say you got that hot goalie, you're never out of the game. And Dallas's goalie has been fantastic in this series. And then staying in the West, Edmonton and LA tied at 2.
St. Louis,
Yeah,
Minnesota.
St. Louis, Minnesota. I knew that one would be pretty tight. And like they're just kind of just evenly matched.
This is probably the most evenly matched. Those are literally 2 teams that have the same identical lines.
Yes. So the East, same thing with Boston and Carolina. We discussed how Carolina just took a 3-2 lead in there. Tampa Bay and Toronto going back and forth. And then the other one is escaping me right now.
Kings and Edmonton.
Yeah, mention that one from the West.
I'm sorry, you said the East.
Yep.
Pittsburgh and the Rangers.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, no, Washington and Florida.
Yes, there we go. Washington and Florida, they're tied at 2.
Mm-hmm.
And Florida, they won the, I guess, what is it? Is it the President's Cup for the best record regular season in there?
Oh yeah.
So Florida, they're in and I had a feeling Washington was going to give them, because Washington got a pedigree. So I had a feeling Washington was going to give them some problems. But yeah, so Washington, Florida, Tampa Bay, Toronto, and Boston and Carolina, they were all tied at 2 going in. It's just crazy, the parity, and it's awesome to see. I for one, I know hockey isn't as popular as those other sports, football and basketball in particular, but the atmospheres in the hockey games, the atmosphere in a playoff hockey game is. Yeah, it's unlike any other, man. If you get the chance to experience that, and I don't care the city, I don't care where you're at. If the NHL, if the Stanley Cup playoffs is happening in your town, go. Yeah, make this a trip. I was lucky enough to be here at the American Airlines Center in Dallas when the Stars had made the playoffs one year. That atmosphere is insane. And I can only imagine what it is in places like you mentioned one last week in Montreal. Chicago has another one. Yeah, Boston.
Tampa here lately.
Yeah, Toronto, I'm sure is insane to be there. St. Louis. Yeah, Toronto. I mean, like any of those places in Canada.
Let's just name every freaking city that has a hockey team, because it's freaking awesome.
It's awesome. If the Stanley Cup playoffs is happening in your town, go, man. I recommend it. So, hey, Patrick, anything to add before we hop on out of here?
No, I'm good, man.
Well, all right. Well, hey, we hope y'all enjoyed the show. That concludes this edition of the Breath of Fresh Air webcast. Y'all already know what I'm going to say, because I say it at the end. Come on, visit the Breath of Fresh Air YouTube channel, smash that subscribe button, and keep the likes coming on the Breath of Fresh Air Facebook page. So until next time, we will catch you. Next week. Until then, enjoy the games as we start getting into deeper in the Stanley Cup playoffs and in the NBA. By this time next week, we're going to be talking about conference finals. So, it's a lot of fun times going on through. So everybody enjoy, and don't hesitate. Of course, if you got some comments, good, bad, or indifferent, let us know, and of course we will respond to you. But until then, enjoy the games, and we will talk to y'all next week.